Talk a little bit about Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London's new Nightlife Taskforce, which I'm really happy about, to be honest. Obviously, most of you guys know I had a real big problem with the previous night czar, which was Amy Lammy, who recently stepped down, thank God for that, after a disastrous tenure, trying to essentially fight for nightlife here in London. But during her tenure, we had a record number of clubs closed, which wasn't all her fault during COVID, whatever else happened. But she wasn't the best at her job, clearly was stealing a living, and has thankfully now gone. And instead of Sadiq Khan replacing her with one person, he's now put together this Nightlife Task Force made up of people who represent the nightlife scene here in London to adequately, and I think realistically and properly, defend and fight for nightclubs here in London, and hopefully stop the never-ending closure of some of our best ones, and maybe lead to some newer ones opening. Who fucking knows? So it's courtesy of Resident Advisor. It says, Fabric co-founder Cameron Leslie, Pussy Palace founder Nadine Noor, big up Pussy Palace, one of the best parties here in London, Colour Factory founder Nathaniel Williams, and Colour Factory, again one of the best clubs here, are among the 11-person team. So already 3 people who are legitimately better in that role than Amy Lammy ever was. 3 people who are legit as fuck, know what they're talking about, and can hopefully save the nightlife industry and clubs here in London. Let's continue. Mayor Sadiq Khan has unveiled members of London's first ever Nightlife Task Force. The 11-person team includes Fabric co-founder Cameron Leslie, who's chair of the group, Pussy Palace founder Nadine Noor, Colour Factory founder Nathaniel Williams, Daytimers founder Provat Raham, Nighttime Industry Association CEO Michael Kill, Music Venues Trust External Affairs Manager Sophie Brownlee, and DJ and radio host Lily London. The 12th member, Fold's co-founder Seb Glover, decided against joining just before the group launch due to other commitments, the Evening Standard reports. That's a shame, by the way. Big up Seb. He's actually a good dude. I think he also runs a Glove That Fits, and also obviously runs the popular club here in London called Fold. It's a shame he's not joining, but the people that they have already there are really good. Obviously got a lot of experience and know what the fuck they're talking about. So hopefully they'll be able to steady the tide of closures in London. It continues. The task force will spend the next 6 months assessing the challenges and opportunities facing nightlife in the UK capital, and will provide recommendations on how to ensure the nighttime economy can thrive. Khan believes that the group's expertise and unparalleled knowledge garnered from years of working across a range of nighttime industries will ensure success. The rising cost of living, the operational costs, the shifts in consumer behavior, the staffing shortages and licensing issues have all been hitting businesses hard. I'm determined to do all I can to work alongside our nighttime industries. Leslie stressed that the task force cannot wave a magic wand, but hopes that we can put together something meaningful which all stakeholders and individuals who generally want to see London's nightlife vibrant, nighttime economy thrive and grow can then get behind it. Noor believes that the collaboration is key and plans to deliver meaningful change that reflects the vibrancy and diversity of London's nightlife. The London Task Force will operate in place of the Night Czar. Amy Lammy was London's first Night Czar, stepped down from her position last October after 8 years. By the way, it's a really bad indictment on her, isn't it? What an unsuccessful tenure. 8 years of complete failure, so bad that Sadiq Khan was like, nah, I can't replace you with one person. I have to change this whole thing and put together a task force instead, which will probably be a better use of taxpayers' money, right? Instead of allocating those funds to one person, you split those funds across 6 people or whatever, and then you have it be like a freelance type of thing and not like a salaried role, which is way better. Way, way, way better. We'll continue to report on this story as it unfolds. Here's a list of the 11 members as you see they're listed. So, again, for me, I think one of the main things that they probably should push for, if I had any kind of say in this, would be extended opening hours of clubs. Extending opening hours of clubs is super crucial. Insofar, I would say, my compromise would be, if you can't extend the opening hours of most clubs, each area of London, north, east, south, and west, deserves at least one club that's open past 6 a.m., especially on the weekends. One club. So far in East we have Fold, but Fold's closed at 6. So I think it still needs a couple of hours. Maybe 8 or 7 in terms of closure time. But we need at least one of those clubs in each area of London. And I think if you have that, it would ease the traffic, ease some of the bottleneck, ease some of the busyness in different areas, because all the clubs that everyone wants to go to are either the ones in east or south. So you end up with everybody over there, and people aren't able to travel and club hop and whatever it may be. But I think every area in London deserves to have its version of Fold that can open past 6 a.m. I think as well, another important thing is we need more venues that are around the 100 to 500 to 100 to 700 capacity. I think we've got way too many clubs here already about to launch that are 2,000 capacity. We need more clubs that are in that sweet spot of 100 cap to 700 cap. Those are the clubs that where you kind of foster community, where you foster a scene, where you can introduce new artists, new DJs, blah, 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 blah. But I think when it hits 1,000, that's when you can't really do that. That's when you have to start hiring and booking DJ Mag top DJs, business techno DJs, shitty DJs in general, because those are the ones that sell the tickets. But if you have venues that are between 100 cap to 700 cap, you can take more chances. You can maybe start to have residency things. You can maybe start to allow young promoters opportunity to put on parties and take more risk with certain things and be a bit more experimental. Maybe have more free events. Those are really important because we don't have enough. And the ones that we do have are kind of more pubs than they are clubs. So we need way more venues between 100 and 700 capacity. We need more venues open after 6 a.m. And if we need especially at least one venue in each area of London that's open until 8. At least one. I'm not talking for loads, just one venue. That we deserve that. Especially considering how much nightlife contributes to the overall fucking GDP and economy of fucking London overall. Obviously, nightlife encompasses the theatre and everything else in between. It's not just clubs, but I think clubs play a big role in that. If that's the case, reward the clubs that are doing it right. Reward the clubs that aren't really getting themselves in trouble. Reward the nightlife scene in general and allow more spaces to be open later. But again, what do I know? Another development on this, courtesy of RA, is part research, part support. London Nightlife Taskforce, Alice Hoffman Fuller, Corsica Studios' former art director and head of operations, discusses her hopes for the initiative after yesterday's launch. This is her talking to RA, so big up this lady. What's her name again? Alice Hoffman Fuller. RA says, there have been murmurs about the task force for quite some time now. Is it nice to finally put some faces to the role? She says, well, firstly, I want to make sure the narrative about the task force is accurate. This is really a new thing. That's what makes it exciting. For me, I've built a lot of experience on how nightlife works operationally from my work at Corsica Studios, which again, another one of our best clubs here in London, especially in South, alongside with Venue MOT, alongside with Phonox, really good clubs. But I think they would be much improved if they were able to stay open past 6 a.m., at least until 8, in my opinion. I think there's no reason why a nightclub in South London on the weekend can't be open, especially for one day. It doesn't have to be even Friday, just fucking Saturday night. It should be open until at least 8 a.m. on a Sunday. There's no reason why it can't be. One day in a fucking weekend. It shouldn't be that difficult to do that. But what do I know? This is really a new thing. That's what makes it exciting for me. I built a lot of experience on nightlife and how it works operationally from my work at Corsica Studios and how nightlife interacts with culture. I want to use some of this experience to help the sector in a broader sense. It's part research and part support. The task force will spend the next 6 months assessing the challenges, says RA, and opportunities around facing London. What would that look like in real terms? She says, consulting primarily, reaching out to venues and finding out what's working and what isn't from a business perspective. There's a big difference between the needs of grassroots music venues and clubs, for example. So we need to cultivate different approaches to meet the specific needs of those in the industry. By the way, this is basic. This is basic shit. Even I could have figured this out, and I'm not that smart. Even I could have figured out that this would be the best approach to this sort of issue. So what the fuck was Amy Lammy doing? If this is the basic approach to deal with these issues, is to talk directly with these clubs, big or small, and see what their pain points are, and try to work out something with the government, meet people in the middle, local councils, licensing, blah, 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 blah. What the fuck was Amy Lammy doing? What the fuck was she doing for 8 years? God almighty. She stole a living, innit? Congrats to her, by the way, for securing a bag. I'm never gonna begrudge someone for securing a bag. But fucking hell, she stole a living, innit? She did fucking jack shit. If this is what they have to do, the bare minimum, the basics now, that means she didn't probably do it. or she didn't do it sufficiently enough. But when it comes to clubs, it's quite obvious that the primary issue at the moment is overheads. The overheads are often a lot greater than the income being made. Oh, really? I didn't know that. The biggest issue for most clubs is overheads, not opening times. So are clubs intentionally hiring too many people? Or can they not function without those people? Because my thinking would be, if you allow the clubs to be open longer, it gives them more time to make more money because people will probably stay out longer and drink more, you would imagine. Maybe if you open it longer, that also means you have to pay people longer. Maybe. I don't know. It continues. RA says, one thing I noticed about Nightlife Taskforce is that many of the members have big commercial stakes in the scene. Could this present a conflict of interest between short-term financial interests and the venues they're involved in? Nah, I don't think so. She says, I hope these people would be the ones thinking the most about long-term. Short-termism isn't really a thing for a venue. Exactly. I don't think so, because venues don't really think short-term anyway. Their very nature, they're already thinking 6 months to a year in advance. Most clubs. I'd imagine comes out folder already booked all the way up until next year anyway. 2026. So, yeah, I don't think they have the ability to think short-term. It continues, what can the scene do to help Nightlife Taskforce achieve the goals? The big thing at the moment is keeping the optimism around this initiative. It doesn't take much for the media to jump on things and cause a pile-on, so I think we should approach this optimistically for a change. Everyone on Task Force has benefit of interest, has the best interest in and wants to try and make this work. I won't say though. I think they have to earn trust in that regard. I think regular people, myself included, should look at this with some skepticism. We shouldn't give the benefit of the doubt. They should show and prove. We had 8 years of disastrous lead with Amy Lammy. Some of us are burnt and don't expect much and are a bit black-pilled when it comes to this sort of stuff, myself included, or cynical. So I think they kind of probably need to earn our trust and go from there. Probably, I would say. But it's a good thing overall. It's good to see that Sadiq Khan has noticed the error of his ways, and instead of replacing Amy Lammy with another person who's going to earn a grossly overvalued salary and waste a bunch of time, better to get a task force together and do it that way. Again, it's maybe too many, chefs in the kitchen, but I think because they all have stakes in the industry and they know what they're doing, I think most likely there'll be better results going forward. You would hope. You would hope so. But that's what's happening here, courtesy of RA. So big up Sadiq Khan for once. Big up Sadiq Khan for once.